Welcome to Google Slides. Alrighty, so the Google app we're going to look at now is Google Slides. And like all the Google apps, if you're on a Chromebook, quite often down the bottom of your screen, you'll be able to see a link to the app. If that doesn't work, just go to your Chrome browser and you can access Google Slides up there. So Google Slides is the little orange icon here. And just to give you a bit of background about Google Slides, it's like Google's equivalent of Microsoft PowerPoint. So, just like Microsoft Word is similar to Google Docs, you can pretty much expect that a lot of those similarities are exactly the same in relation to Microsoft PowerPoint and Google Slides. However, there are a few minor differences and a lot of added advantages. So now we're in the Slides desktop. You can see some of my slides here. So let's start a blank one. And with all things, good habits to get into is to name your presentation. So for example, if it's your final science assessment or assignment, science assignment, try and spell it right, assignment, and just put my name on there. It's always a good idea. And you're ready to go, and that saves automatically in your drive. Remembering that every little keystroke you do, so GARR, saving, and bang, all changes saved. So you don't ever have to click save. So you can see the layout here. It's very similar to Google Docs. Some of the options, so you've got your file over here, sharing options, create a new presentation, make a copy, move to the bin, etc. Undo, redo, copy, paste. Inserting things like images, we'll get into that a little bit more in a minute in videos. But for more or less, the layout's fairly similar. Let's start with the simple functions up here. So adding a new slide. Okay, and you can change the order of those. So call this title 1. So I can easily move that, make it number 3. So things like that, very similar to Microsoft PowerPoint. And you've got your text box here all ready to go. When you open a new slide, you'll see over here on the far right, you've got different themes to pick from. Now the themes are probably a little bit more simpler here with Google Slides. It's pretty easy to format and create your own backgrounds. So let's just say I want to get rid of all these text boxes here. Why don't I first show you how to insert an image. And it's much like a Google Doc. You can upload from your computer, but you're not going to be doing a lot of that at all. You can take a snapshot. So go allow, and you can see there it's got a picture of me. URL. So if, let's just say, always go to my default, which is dog. So let's just say I've got an image of a dog. View that image. If I've got the actual URL, which is the web address, so I can copy that address that's up there, paste it straight in there, and it will come up with the image. Albums that are within your Google Photos, okay, or from your Google Drive, go back, or you can just do a Google search. So again, probably much easier, just go dog, and there's that very same image. So I could format that picture to kind of stretch it across the whole slide like that. And I can do things like image options. I can make it transparent. If I wanted that to be the theme for the entire, just right click, just delete that, clicking delete. If I wanted to make that the theme for all of my slides, I could just right click on that and duplicate the slide. So you can basically come up with your own themes, and again, that's pretty similar to how you do things for Microsoft PowerPoint. So let's delete that. So there you go. You've just had a quick look there about how to insert an image. Cool thing on here is you can insert YouTube videos really easy. The only kind of drawback, I guess, is the fact that you always need an internet connection. But if we think about the year 2016, we had 200 school days, and we only had 5 days at school where we didn't have internet connection just due to network outages. So that's pretty much you can guarantee every day our internet's working. So to insert a video, you can do a video search. So let's put in something like Batman. There you go. So if I wanted the Lego Batman movie trailer, just select it. And then that's in there. And when I present the slide, which I'll show you a little bit later on, I'll show you how that plays. Let's add a new slide. If I want to insert a video, and I actually know the URL, so let's just say Batman. Say I'm researching some things about Batman, and I've come across a specific video, and I'm watching it, and it's got all the right information that I want to include in my slide. I can just easily copy the URL up there, and I can then paste that URL into there. Now, the unfortunate thing is videos from other different types of video streaming sites, you won't be able to insert them. It only works with YouTube. You could still just insert that video. So let's just say it was a BTN video that I wanted to insert into my slide. Go find the website. Let's see where the video is. Can't actually find the video. Let's go back. Let's just go to normal BTN video here. So I could easily just copy the video's URL. Just going to close that and just insert a link there. So I'll hyperlink. So you can still jump to the video when you're presenting in your Google slide. Okay. So that's inserting images, videos, and then you've got other things like charts and stuff, but we won't really be doing a lot of that this year, so don't stress too much. Lines and shapes, tables and stuff like that are fairly easy to insert into a Google slide. So some options for your slide here. Obviously, you've got shortcuts over here, buttons for things like new slide, duplicate slide, delete slide, change background, apply a layout. So this is really cool. This is a fairly new thing. And this is more your visual literacy, making sure that your layout is nice and neat. So you've already got these default kind of pages, and this is a really good one, a title and 2 columns. Let's actually insert that on a new slide. And you can see how that's applied to this video. And that might be good if you're doing 2 separate, similar bits of information. So, let's just say expenditure on pets, and this could be for dogs and cats. Certain things like that. So, you can insert those types of tables yourself, but it's good to know that you've got some really good default settings in there that kind of takes a bit of the thinking out of it and a bit of the work out of it for you. Animations, this is kind of a cool one. So that actually just relates to certain things within each slide. So select an object to animate. So let's click on that. Or actually, it might work better if we go up here. Select this object to animate. Won't work with video. Let's try an image. And I'm just going to shrink that image down. Selected it. So when I'm presenting my slide, I might want it to fade in. That means when we first present the slide, it won't be there and it will slowly come into view. And how do I want it to fade in? On a click, or after the previous slide, or with previous. Okay, So I'm going to have it on click, and I want it to fade in slowly. Okay, so let's play. Click. There you go. So you can see how that kind of happens. So, and that's all just playing around, really making sure that before you ever present, you run through these things, at least 10 or 15 times to make sure it's exactly how you want it. So let's stop that. So you've got some really good options there about what you can do with certain images and other parts of your slide. So there's format. Again, this is stuff you learnt within Google Docs. So, making your text bold, italic, underline it, font size, text color, paragraph styles, aligning your text to the left, center, right, etc. So that's all pretty simple stuff that you've covered before. And then other things too, like tools, you got spelling. So always checking your spelling. Personal dictionary, we'll get into more of that later. There's another option here for your table. Let's just get out of themes there, give ourselves a little bit more room. And up here, when it comes time to text, you've still got all the same options up here. More shortcuts for aligning text and spacing and things like that. Dot points, numbering, indents, things like that. So yeah, that all pops up only when you need it. So you notice when I click off those things, it doesn't present those options because it's assuming I'm not working on doing things with the text at the time. So it's pretty good like that actually. Alright, so let's go. I'll do a bit of a mock presentation for you before you have a real good fiddle around with these things. One more thing though before I do that is adding notes here. So if you're presenting from your Chromebook, when you go to present, what you will see on your screen is similar to what's the layout here, whereas on the screen that's that your slide's being presented on, the audience will see the full slide, and you can actually have notes down here. So talk about the Joker that the audience won't see. But that's good because when you're presenting a slide, even a PowerPoint, whatever, it's really important that when you're talking about the information presenting, you're not just reading directly off the slide. That's super boring, and there's a bit of a name for that. It's called death by PowerPoint. So just really try and avoid do that. It's okay to have text up there that you want people to read, but don't read exactly what's written on there. So this section down here, your notes section, this is where you could have stuff written down and read directly off it that the audience can't actually read up here. And that means that you're engaging them in two ways. Visually, they're looking at the slide, but they also know that they have to listen to what you're saying because the information you're saying isn't presented on the slide. So you're making it a lot more meaningful. Alright, so let's get into my slide. So I've inserted a video here. I'm not going to get too much into backgrounds and stuff. I'm pretty confident most of you know what you're doing there. And let's have a look how it actually looks when I present. So you can see there, it's ready for me to play. My mouse is ready on it, so it's in presenter view. Okay, we'll get back into that later. And you can just click play. So there you go. So it plays automatically like that. As we go through the slides, you can use arrow keys. Skip ahead in the video, which is pretty cool. And to move forward through the slides, just using the arrow keys down here. So let's see how a little fade in goes here. On click. Click. There you go. So you can see how that fading worked there. Now that wasn't really effective at all. Didn't really add anything to it, but you might time it so it fades in when you make a specific point about something. Let's exit that. Oh, this is a cool little feature here. When you want to highlight something specifically, this is kind of like your little laser pointer. Like if you're making, if you want everyone to really focus on a certain bit of text in your slide, you can click on, let's get down on that, turn that off. This little squiggle feature here, and you could say, this is a really important bit of information that you'd like to discuss, or you can highlight things, underline, or can I divert everyone's attention to this section of the slide, etc. Or if you're doing a comparison table, say two images of dogs, and you're pointing out the difference, you say look at the difference here and here between the two images. So It's only a simple thing, but it actually is really, really effective. So let's exit out of that. So let's go back to our fading. That's something I think is probably worth having a bit of play with. Let's find where it was again. Format. Animation. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Okay, so let's get rid of some of this text over here. Just make it all about the picture. Cool. Stretch that out, make it a bit bigger. Cool. Alright, so I want to add some animation to this. So I do want it to fade in. And let's make it fly in from top though. After previous slide. And let's make it do that. See how dragging along. It's giving you how many seconds that's going to take. Let's make it 3 seconds, so close to medium. Alright. Cool. So I like how that's worked out. So when I go to present, there we go. It's a little bit more effective, a little bit neater. So that's really a lot of the really kind of interesting stuff about slides. Again, actually, the one last really cool feature about slides, and it's hard for me to demonstrate here, but when you're working in collaborative groups with your peers, the great thing about slides is, unlike docs where it can get really messy and things go all over the place, if you share your slide with someone, just like you would a Google Doc, so you make sure you put their email address in, make sure that they can edit it, done. When you're collaborating, you can be working on separate slides together and not actually see have that person writing all over the top of you. So you can designate certain slides that you're working on. And what will happen is, if I was working on a slide with Mrs. Hall, and she's working on slide 1, I'm working on slide 2, all I'll see up here is on slide 1 is a little purple square, and it will just have a V in it for Veronica Hall. And that just lets me know that she's currently online and she's working on slide 1. But that's all I'll see. I won't see lots of messy writing coming up on top of my slide. And it actually works so well for group assignments because you can all be on the same document without even really seeing what the other person's doing unless you deliberately click on that slide. So Google Slides is the best thing for group work. And like all things, it's great if you're going home. You can all be online at home working on it at different times together too. A really good way to give each other feedback. If you wanted to comment on something, let's just say Mrs. Hall has written something on here and I think it's a really, really good point, but it might need something, or I have an idea about something she could add to it to make it better. Let's just put a quick text box in there. Let's just make up some jibber jabber. If I wanted to comment about that, I can highlight that text and add a comment and just say, hi Mrs. Hall, and then add my add my comment there and say, oh, I found a really good link. Check out this link for more info. Let's just say this is the link for whatever weird reason. Comment. And without actually editing or changing up her writing, I've just given her a bit of valuable information about something that she's written there. Okay, so you can delete those comments once they've been read and you've checked them, but comments is a really good way about commenting on people's work without actually writing over the top of. Like anything, I think you can always see the revision history of things with Google Slides. Let's just go back to that slide. So you can see exactly what people have done. See revision history. So you can see here, obviously, I've only been doing stuff for about 20 minutes, but if you've been working on this for 2 or 3 weeks and there's something from a week ago that you think is missing, you can go back all the way down through your revision history and restore that version. So you can see when I first started this slide, I have the version of that document, so I can restore that and it will show me what it looked like when I first created it, okay, which is not much at all. So have a really big play around with these things. Have a go of inserting all types of media, playing with animations, formatting your slides, presenting, using notes, making sure your visual literacy side of things, like the layout, is really neat. Getting those things down pat, and still working on honing your skills for just basic like text alignment and making sure that you're using correct text and using things like the spell check to make sure the content is all well edited and proofread and all those things. And then we'll go on with, we'll actually work on a Google slide relevant to one of your learning topics at the moment.